I stood in the glass-walled boardroom, the Manhattan skyline glittering behind me like a promise I'd earned. My heels clicked against the polished floor, each step a reminder of the $150 million, 0 cents, in contracts I'd secured for Nexus Solutions. The room buzzed with anticipation. Executives in tailored suits, their eyes flicking to me. The woman who'd turned our fledgling tech firm into a market contender. I smoothed my blazer, expecting the promotion I'd been chasing for years. Vice President of Client Success. My name already felt etched on the door. The door swung open, and Caleb strode in, our new COO. His smirk was sharp like a blade catching light. He didn't sit. He leaned against the table, arms crossed, his gaze locking on to me. "Elise Harper," he said, drawing out my name like it was a punchline. "We've got news." My stomach tightened, but I kept my smile steady. I'd learned to navigate men like Caleb. Ivy League charm masking ruthless ambition. He'd been here 3 weeks, and already the office whispered about his late-night meetings, his closed-door calls. I figured he'd try to take credit for my work. I was ready for that fight. "News?" I asked, my voice calm, professional. Inside, my pulse raced. He slid a folder across the table. It landed with a soft thud like a gavel. "You're being reassigned, effective immediately." The room went silent. I blinked, certain I'd misheard. "Reassign?" "Executive assistant," he said, his smirk widening. "To me." The words hit like a slap. Executive assistant? I'd spent a decade climbing from intern to senior director, negotiating deals with Fortune 500 CEOs, building Nexus's client portfolio from scratch. I'd worked nights, weekends, holidays, missing my sister's wedding to close a deal. And now, to him? I forced a laugh, expecting a punchline. "Caleb, I secured $150 million, 0 cents this quarter. I'm up for VP." His eyes gleamed, cold and unyielding. "The board sees things differently. You're better suited to support." Support. The word burned. I glanced at the other executives. Some shifted uncomfortably. Others avoided my gaze. No one spoke. The air felt thick, like the moment before a storm breaks. "Caleb," I said, my voice low, "this is a mistake." "No mistake." He straightened, adjusting his cufflinks. "Oh, and Mia's taking over as client success lead. Your accounts are hers now." Mia, my mentee. The 26-year-old I'd trained, mentored, championed. I'd shared my strategies, my contacts, my late-night coffee runs with her. She'd called me her work mom. Now she was taking my job? My chest tightened, betrayal cutting deeper than Caleb's smirk. I opened my mouth to protest, but he was already moving on, dismissing me with a wave. "Your new desk's outside my office. Start Monday." The room spun. I gripped the table, my knuckles white. This wasn't just a demotion. It was a public execution. I'd seen it happen to others. The slow erasure, the whispers, the sidelining until you're invisible. But me? I'd been untouchable. Or so I thought. I left the boardroom, my heels no longer confident, but heavy, like they were sinking into quicksand. The hallway stretched endlessly, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. I reached my office, my former office, and found my CRM access revoked, my own work, my contracts, my legacy, locked away. I stared at the screen, the access denied message mocking me. That night, I couldn't sleep. My apartment, once a sanctuary, felt like a cage. I paced, replaying Caleb's smirk, the board's silence, Mia's name on my title. At 1 a.m., I overheard a call through my neighbor's thin walls. Caleb's voice, low and conspiratorial, plotting to pin a data breach on me. A breach I hadn't caused. A breach that could ruin me. I acted fast. At 2 a.m., I slipped into the office, the building eerily silent. My keycard still worked. Barely. I downloaded backups of my contracts, my fingers trembling as the progress bar crawled. Footsteps echoed down the hall. A security guard appeared, his flashlight blinding. "Ms. Harper, you shouldn't be here," he said, his tone laced with warning. "Mr. Caleb's orders?" I fled, clutching the flash drive, my heart pounding. Outside, I froze. My car's hood was vandalized, the words, "Walk away," scratched deep into the paint. The street was empty, but I felt eyes on me. This wasn't just a demotion, it was a setup. The next week, at Nexus's annual gala, I was serving drinks, my silk dress replaced with a black apron. Mia stood on stage, presenting my work as her own, her smile radiant under the spotlight. A rival CEO, glass in hand, mocked me publicly. Elise Harper, reduced to waitress? What a fall. Laughter rippled through the crowd. My face burned, but I kept my head high, pouring wine with steady hands. Then the blows kept coming. Client A sent a termination notice, citing my removal. My digital records were altered, framing me for leaks. A legal summons arrived, accusing me of the breach Caleb had orchestrated. My sister, Anna, pleaded with me to quit, her voice cracking over the phone. "Elise, we need you. The kids miss you. This job's killing you." I wanted to scream, to quit, to disappear. But then Ryan, a junior analyst, confessed he'd been bribed to stay silent about my demotion. His guilt-ridden eyes met mine. "I'm sorry, Elise. Caleb's got dirt on everyone." I suffered a panic attack that night, my breath shallow, the walls closing in. But as dawn broke, I recovered, resolve hardening like steel. I wasn't done. Client B threatened to leak my emails unless I was reinstated. I refused, risking exposure as a whistleblower. The flash drive with contract evidence became my lifeline. Caleb called an emergency board meeting, blaming me for fake financial errors. I was summoned, not to speak, but to serve water. The boardroom was tense, Caleb's voice booming as he spun lies. But Ms. Vernon, a sharp-eyed board member, interrupted. "These signatures," she said, holding up a contract, "they're not Elise's." Caleb's face paled. Suspicion shifted. I left the room, feeling control return, a spark reigniting. Client C terminated, citing a hidden clause I'd discovered in the contracts. Nexus lost 45% of its revenue in a week. Mia's presentations faltered, her inexperience exposed. In the copy room, I caught her staring, guilt-ridden. Her text came later. "Caleb's blaming you for everything." The office buzzed with whispers of collapse. Client D demanded a refund, citing my absence. Caleb called my work legacy risk, but I stayed late, sorting supplies, plotting. My phone buzzed. A client's partnership offer. I met Client A secretly in a downtown cafe. They proposed funding for my consultancy. Client E joined, offering infrastructure. I hesitated, torn by the moral dilemma. Nexus begged me to return, doubling my salary, promising my team. I demanded full control in writing. They balked. So I walked away, leasing a co-working space downtown. I opened my laptop, starting Harper Solutions. Mia resigned, asking to join me. I hired her, vowing to build a better table. Clients AE signed with me. Nexus faced lawsuits. Caleb was fired, his career in ruins. My firm landed a $50 million 0 cents contract in its first month. I mentored Mia, teaching integrity. Anna visited my new office, proud, relieved. I reflected, no longer invisible. I wrote a blog post, "Build Your Own Empire." The days that followed were a blur of adrenaline and ambition. Harper Solutions wasn't just a company, it was my rebellion, my redemption. I worked from a corner desk in the co-working space, the hum of other startups fueling my focus. My laptop screen glowed with spreadsheets, proposals, and emails from clients who'd followed me. They didn't just want my expertise, they wanted my fight, my refusal to bend. I hired a small team, including Mia, who showed up with a nervous smile and a promise to earn my trust again. I gave her a chance. Not because I forgave her, but because I believed in second chances. I'd needed one myself. The city pulsed outside my window, a reminder of the stakes. New York doesn't wait for you to catch your breath. I met clients in sleek boardrooms and gritty cafes, pitching Harper solutions with a fire I hadn't felt at Nexus. They signed on, one after another, drawn to my vision of transparency and results. Client A, the first to ditch Nexus, brought a $10 million 0 cents deal. Client E offered server infrastructure, cutting my overhead. The numbers added up, but so did the pressure. I was betting everything on myself. Nexus's collapse played out in headlines. Tech darling crumbles amid scandal, one read. I didn't gloat. I'd poured years into that company, and watching it burn stung, even if I'd lit the match. Caleb's firing was quiet, a footnote in a press release. I heard he'd moved to Chicago, chasing a mid-tier consulting gig. Good riddance. Mia told me he'd tried to call her, fishing for dirt on me. She hung up. Progress. Anna's visit was a turning point. She walked into my office, her eyes wide at the sight of my name on the door. You did it, she said, hugging me. Her kids, my niece and nephew, ran in, leaving sticky fingerprints on my glass desk. I laughed, the sound foreign after months of tension. Anna had been right to worry. Nexus had nearly broken me. But now she saw the sister she'd missed. Not the workaholic who skipped family dinners, but the woman who'd fought her way back. I mentored Mia with a mix of tough love and patience. She was talented but green, her confidence shaken by Nexus's implosion. Lead with truth, I told her during a late-night strategy session. Clients smelled bullshit a mile away. She nodded, scribbling notes. I saw myself in her. The hunger, the fear of failing. I'd make her better than I'd been. The $50 million 0 cents contract came unexpectedly. Client F, a tech giant I'd courted at Nexus, reached out. They wanted Harper Solutions to overhaul their CRM platform. I negotiated the deal in a midtown skyscraper, my voice steady as I doubled our fee. They didn't blink. When the contract landed in my inbox, I sat alone in my office, staring at the number. 50 million. Proof I wasn't invisible anymore. I wrote my blog post that night, the words pouring out. Build your own empire, I typed, my fingers flying. I told my story. Not the polished version, but the raw one, the demotion, the vandalism, the panic attacks. I wrote about Caleb's lies, Mia's betrayal, and the clients who'd believed in me. I didn't name Nexus, but I didn't need to. The post went viral, shared by women in tech, entrepreneurs, anyone who'd ever been counted out. My inbox flooded with messages. You're my hero. Keep fighting. I read them all, my throat tight. But the fight wasn't over. Nexus's lawsuits dragged on, their lawyers sniffing for a scapegoat. I hired a legal team, draining my savings, but I had the flash drive, my insurance. The hidden clause I'd found in the contracts protected my clients' exits, and my backups proved Caleb's tampering. The board knew it. They'd offered me my job back, but I'd chosen freedom. Harper Solutions was mine, built on my terms. Mia grew into her role, pitching clients with a confidence that surprised me. She wasn't perfect. She botched a presentation to Client C, costing us a follow-up deal, but she owned it, staying late to fix her mistakes. I respected that. When Client D demanded a refund, echoing Nexus's complaints, I stepped in, smoothing things over with data and charm. They stayed. The office buzzed with our rhythm. Phones ringing, keyboards clacking, coffee cups piling up. We were small, scrappy, but we were winning. One night, I met Client A's CEO in a dimly lit cafe, the kind where deals are made over whiskey, not contracts. He leaned forward, his voice low. Elise, "You're the real deal. We're doubling our investment." I nodded, my face calm, but inside I was screaming. His faith wasn't just in my company, it was in me. Client E followed, offering a partnership to scale our platform. I hesitated, weighing the risks. Nexus had taught me trust is a luxury. But I signed, betting on my gut. The moral dilemma lingered. Starting Harper Solutions felt like revenge, but it was also a lifeline for my team, my clients, myself. Was I rebuilding, or was I proving a point? Late nights I'd stare at the ceiling, questioning my choices. Anna's words echoed, "This job's killing you." She'd been half right. Nexus had tried to bury me, but it had also shown me what I could survive. I declined Nexus's final offer, a tripled salary, a corner office. They sent it in a desperate email, the subject line, "Come back." I deleted it. My demands, full control, written guarantees, had been non-negotiable. They'd refused, proving they hadn't changed. I didn't need their validation anymore. The co-working space became a real office, with glass walls and my logo on the door. I hired more staff, Ryan, the analyst who'd confessed Caleb's bribe, a coder from Client E, a marketing lead with a knack for viral campaigns. Mia suggested a mentorship program, and I greenlit it, remembering how I'd needed guidance once. We weren't just a company, we were a movement. Nexus's remaining clients sued, citing the same clause I'd uncovered. Their stock tanked, and the board resigned en masse. I didn't celebrate. I was too busy building. Client F's contract led to another, then another. Harper Solutions hit $75 million, 0 cents in commitments by month 2. I negotiated every deal, my voice sharper, my terms non-negotiable. I wasn't the woman who'd poured wine at the gala. Mia's growth surprised me most. She'd been Caleb's pawn, but she was becoming my ally. When she pitched Client G, a biotech firm, she closed a $5 million 0 cents deal solo. Afterward, she found me in the break room, her eyes bright. "I used your line about truth," she said. I smiled, proud but guarded. Trust takes time. Anna brought the kids again, their laughter filling the office. She pulled me aside, her voice soft. "I was scared you'd lose yourself, but look at you." I hugged her, the weight of her words settling. I'd fought for more than a company. I'd fought for me. The blog post kept trending, sparking invites to speak at tech conferences. I declined most, focused on my team, but I wrote another post, shorter this time. "Empires start with scars." It wasn't poetic, but it was true. My scars, Nexus, Caleb, the panic attacks had built Harper Solutions. They'd built me. I stood in my office one evening, the skyline darker now, but no less alive. The flash drive sat in a drawer, a relic of a war I'd won. My phone buzzed. Client G confirming another deal. I smiled, not at the money, but at the proof. I wasn't invisible. I never had been. I leaned back in my chair, the hue of Harper Solutions fading as the team left for the night. The city's pulse matched my own, relentless, electric. Nexus's betrayal had been a crucible, burning away doubt, leaving only strength. Caleb's smirk, Mia's guilt, the board's silence. They were ghosts now, irrelevant against the empire I'd built. Harper Solutions wasn't just a name. It was my defiance, my proof that no one could erase me. I'd turned humiliation into power, loss into legacy. As I shut my laptop, the screen's glow fading, I felt it. Freedom. Not the kind you chase, but the kind you earn. This was my beginning, and the world would know my name.